Hello boys and girls, Coach Michael here. Let's talk about stress, chronic stress or stress in general, and programming adaptation. Right? So by the end of the video, I will guide you practically how to adjust strength training, muscle endurance, aerobic endurance to stress. Before that, let's set the record straight or set the table and talk about some obvious facts. Now, a healthy psyche is a dynamic psyche. We know that, right? So rigid psyche is like clinical depression or clinical apathy, all right? It's on a one end of a scale, on a spectrum. The other end of a spectrum is intense and rapid shifting in this dynamic. Maybe it's like you want to hug the world and you love everybody in the morning and you want to jump off the roof in the evening. And again, it is clinical condition. It's what's called bipolar or personality or borderline personality disorder. Excuse me. Now, we experience shifting in our psyche dynamics from day to day, which is normally may last longer, shorter. It's not up to us. It's also an environmental condition. We also agree that when we are stressed, our body produces cortisol, which is a stress hormone, and it's fight or flight response. What we also know is, in psychological terms, when cortisol is produced, and a very simple example is, you've heard in your company that there is a major layoff expected and nobody knows who will be laid off, fired. And you're getting pretty stressed because it's your family, it's your bills, it's your future, you know nothing. Uncertainty kills. So your body begins to produce cortisol. However, cortisol is a quote-unquote physical hormone. So body expects a tiger, a fight, some physical activity to dump basically, all this hormonal response and to fight, flight, whatever, do something. And that's why the statement is that a strength training is so good for mental health, because we emulate by lifting barbells, kettlebells, this the second part of the equation. So we have the stress, you're probably will be laid off and the fuck with your life, all right? And then you go lift barbell and you are leveling up the system again. So this is how you go through. And lastly, we know that in order to anchor ourselves in this time of uncertainty and stress periods, rituals is the answer. So make your bed. All right, as simple as, because we have total control whether we make our bed or we don't. Brushing teeth, washing dishes, and a structured, well-designed program. Because the stupidest thing we can do is to live by emotion. Live by emotion and lift by emotion, because when you're high, you are pumping. When you're low, you're merely doing anything. And if your high period will last 3 months and your lower period will last 8 months, or mild period, like autumn, what else? Like what then? You will be do shitty training because you feel shitty? Probably not, right? So we operate with these realms. Now, what we want to understand, the dark side of this coin. When we chronically stressed, the laid off, the war in my case, divorce, whatever, child is very sick, partner, like you name it, come on, we have more reasons to be stressed, unfortunately, than not to, all right? But when body chronically producing cortisol, the system is overflowed, and our physiology does not know where the cortisol comes from you running half marathon or marathon in heat, or you just living on a TNT box of being laid off tomorrow and not knowing how you're going to pay bills, all right, and provide food. Body doesn't know that. It just knows that the cortisol levels are up. Meaning, all right, and this is the entrance point into the programming manipulations. The meaning of it is very simple. Let's say you have 5x5, the best, the easiest barbell strengths, okay, starting strengths. Let's say you need to do your kettlebell sport ladders, like, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, right, etc. Entering in a chronic level state means that you already have done 2 sets, working sets. For example, meaning on your body, it's not 5 or 3 working sets. It's 3 plus 2 from the stress, or 5 plus 2 from the stress. Now, agree with me. If you lift, 7 working sets, it's a hard ass training that you need to recover from. Okay, when you need to run, when you need to lift kettlebells, etc., it's already fatigued. Meaning that if you try to push and say, well, fuck it, I'm beyond the circumstances, I have my program structured, okay, guys who chasing boxes are falling every time for this. You'll get either overtrained, if you're lucky, okay? If not, you'll get injured. And then you won't train for a long time, and guess what stress will do? It will eat you up alive. That's why people die from stress, all right? Literally. Because there is no output, hence, or because you, injured yourself by not understanding that training must be adapted, all right? Same as you prepare your house for weather conditions, for snow, for heavy raining, okay? You clean the sewage, you prepare the equipment. You need to understand, okay, oh shit, winter is coming, okay? So I need to adjust my body. Now, how to do it? Let's talk about strength training. Now, how we adapt strength training is by intensity. So strength training in its core, it's neuro drive, okay? It's neuro recruitment, okay, of motor axons, okay, of the maximum muscle fibers as I can within a minimal period of time, okay? 3 sets of deadlifts, 3 reps, 4 reps of heavy deadlift. This is what we do, okay? It's not bodybuilding pump, right? So if I want to achieve the hormonal response of my strength training, okay, be it testosterone and growth hormone, then again, leveling up cortisol and stress levels and, okay, make peace, okay, to the system. I don't want, instead of, let's say I need to do 3 sets of 5 reps with 100 kilos, right? For example, I don't want to do a scale 100 to 70 because I'm shifting completely from the strength realm into metabolic realm, all right? And with 70, I can probably do 10, 12, 15 reps. It's almost muscle endurance and hypertrophy, but I want strength, so I've missed everything. Instead, what I can do if I need to do 5 sets, I can do 3 sets. If I need to do 3 sets, I can do 4 repetitions. And if you lift, this 1 rep make a huge difference. Okay, so the margin between the fourth and fifth repetition is exponential. Okay, it gets as heavy as fuck, this 1 less rep. And this is exactly where you're saying, okay, I understand that I'm coming with already stressed conditions, 3 reps, 4 reps is enough. So I've recruited everything. I've stayed within the strengths realm, and I've made it coherent, so I did not over-pushed my already, higher stress conditions. So this is how we manipulate within a strength training. Now, muscle endurance, kettlebell sport, rowing, all right, cycling, whatever, but muscular endurance, not aerobic endurance, is about time and it's about tempo. All right? It's not just standing with kettlebells for 10 minutes. It's about standing with kettlebells for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and meeting a certain RPM, repetition per minute, certain tempo. So if I'm doing my long cycle set, my jerk set, for 5 minutes, this is my set, and I need to do 12 repetitions, like 12 RPM, meaning I need to do 60 repetitions in 5 minutes, doing tempo 8 is missing completely, because I can do tempo 8 in any given time. What I cannot do is 12, because 12 is what is stressful, okay? Pushing this tempo and holding it. And that's why in kettlebell, we first go for reducing the size of a kettlebell. So I can go from, 20 to 16, from 24 to 20 to 16, regardless. But I want to keep the psychological adaptation, okay, and this body conditioning to maintain, to sustain the tempo within the time frame, okay? Because, and again, like this is for kettlebell sport-wise, intervals will get you nowhere, okay? So forget about it. Oh, I feel stressed, I'll do 10 sets of 1 minute on, 1 minute off. It's complete bullshit, okay? Like, it's better don't train at all. Like, trust me. Intervals have their time in the programming, and it's beyond the scope of this video to explain you the kettlebell programming, but intervals won't cut it. If you need to do longer sets, you must do longer sets, period. Okay, nothing, okay, no 2 minutes with 24 will prepare you for 6-7 minutes with 20s in a certain tempo, all right? So we reduce the weight of the kettlebell. And if things are that bad, then and only then I am adjusting my tempo for 1 rep each time. So I go from 12 to 11. I'm being a very greedy motherfucker because I must have the tempo. Okay, not jumping from 12 to 8. All right? But from 12 to 11, and I try to push. And even if I drop my tempo during the set, okay, like last minute, I will grind 9 repetitions. I've done, okay, my physiological work that will at least keep me afloat, right, for further work. Lastly, aerobic conditioning. Now, aerobic conditioning is a very peculiar thing because aerobic it's the emotional training, okay? I'm talking about running and I'm talking about swimming. In like cycling, whatever. Mountain biking doesn't count because mountain biking, if you do it well, and if you don't do downhills, but you do like, I love technical climbs and everything, you're doing intervals, okay? So it's a bit different. But road cycling, okay, it can be either muscle endurance or aerobic endurance, okay? You can turn it into both. So you're talking about running, okay? The basic, okay, human form of aerobic conditioning. We have two: intensity, okay, and volume. So for example, if I have my 10K, okay, I can run it in tempo 6 or in tempo 5 or in tempo 4.5. These are all different. And when I feel stress, I usually modify both. I can run slower and less. And this is the best lesson I've took is from a book by Christopher McDougall, Born to Run. And his talk and referred to the Tarahumara tribe from Copper Canyons in Mexico. And it was a beautiful sentence there that one of the locals, one of the Indians, said that we run by emotion, we run by feeling. As long as we are able to run and smile, regardless how hard the run is, okay? Maybe it's hot, whatever, but I can keep my, internal smile, I'm running. The moment I rest myself, begin to suffer, to push, okay, I stop, we walk. And this is exactly how you train aerobic conditioning, okay? I can get into the pool, and just find myself swimming 5K, 4K in a pool because I feel fucking great, regardless of everything that happened in my life. Like something clicked there. I don't care about tempo. Okay, no my number of strokes of swimming per pool. I don't care. I just swim. Same, I just run. And sometimes like Forrest Gump, all right? As like literally, I just run 90 minutes. And sometimes after 20 minutes, I feel that I'm done. And it's the best and the correct running that I can do. So aerobic conditioning is as such. Okay, you need to drop it. Now, if you're preparing for a race, you will obviously, okay, negotiate. Now, if you are preparing for competition, now in my case, I was preparing for my half Ironman, one of the most, like, of the toughest courses in the world. Okay, it's in East Roman, it's the Eilat Mountains, it's climbing in 3 climate zones, all right? It's a tough race. It was happening while I was getting through the wars. Okay, so it's moving out of my house, renovating completely from zero an empty apartment for my kids and myself, going through every process, lawyers, law, okay, religious law, while preparing. So trust me, my stress level was fucking high. All right, mental state was fucking low, and somehow I needed to train. And eventually, like 10 days after I got my official divorce, 10 days after, I was standing in the start line for this Ironman. And actually, it was one of the best races I've done. Okay? Like, emotionally and physically. And obviously, I knew my numbers that I need to meet. So my training was negotiable. Okay? I couldn't just run 20 minutes because I need to run half marathon. But I was negotiating the intensity, the duration, okay, the lengths, to do the best that I could. I gambled heavily on strength training, and again, for God knows which time, it paid off with dividends, because I need to cycle less, run less, whatever. I lifted more, okay, and it paid off. And I did like the most important parts of running, swimming, and biking, right? And it worked well. So in this case, we negotiate. But if you're training for your own sake, you don't have to, because you really don't need to meet, okay, any numbers or any cut-off times, okay, nothing. So this is basically what you do and how you manipulate, okay, your cycle, if and when you catch yourself that, like, I'm some, turmoil condition, and I honestly don't know how long will it last, because we don't. We can assume, we can make assumption, but we don't know. And to go through it live and well, this is how you adjust your training. So thank you for staying with me, and I hope it was useful. Sorry about the length, but then again, I can't do short, okay, stuff and bites of good quality content. I'm an old school guy who like to talk. So thank you for staying with me. Stay tuned. If you like, share, subscribe. I'll try to talk less, but stay as useful as I can. And I'll be disturbing your feed somewhere in the future again. Thank you again.